PJD2 102.7 FM and 1300 AM. I'm Antonio Vinterin and welcome to Sports Forum for today, September the 13th in the year 2025. And I got to start off, that's a big day in the family. So I got to shout out to happy birthday. One more year upon them. Happy birthday to my brother Alvin Vinterin. So he's celebrating today. I ain't gonna mention the age, but he up there. He got 3 scores. He got 3 scores for sure. So happy birthday to you, bro, and hope you do enjoy your special day and celebrate. Shout out to all the constant listeners and supporters of this program. You know, Weekly Sports Forum is on here, and we have our guests, interviews with guests in the studios with us. So we're getting things ready to start here as our guests join us here in the studios. But let me give you an update quickly on because baseball action is hot, man. Shout out to Eddie DeWeer. Eddie, good morning, man. Good morning. Anybody see Eddie DeWeer Sr. this morning? Make sure and tell him I hope he enjoyed he enjoyed his day, because the series is tied at 2 apiece. So after being down 2 losses, the Dodgers bounced back last night. They bounced back last week. They got a win, and last night they tied the series at 2 apiece. So it's a brand new series there, boy. And Eddie, I know you got your videos there with all those calls them that you got dispute, but yeah, the fat lady has sung, and it's a brand new ball game. Hey, shout out to Dimitri Williams going 4 in a third inning last night. He left the game with a score 9-5, and with the Dodgers ahead, so he did a fantastic job. So congratulations to the Dodgers. The series is tied now. Now the work starts over again. AA baseball action continues tonight, again at the Irwin Baco Richardson Little League Baseball Stadium. So you gotta make your way on over there, man. It's really good games. We had a major league. Wow, that was really. Sorry the camera wasn't rolling last night, because we had really a major league catch there from Janeiro de la Rosa in center field, man. This man made a diving catch there to close off the game and shut down the game. That would have spelled trouble for the Dodgers, as the Quisquianos. Richardson, he had the ball deep into center, and Janeiro was able to dive and catch. That was a real spectacular play, man. So if you see him today, congratulate him, because that was fantastic. Unfortunately, well, somebody maybe have the highlight reel so we can post it later on. All right, shout out to Clavis Henderson, Super Dave up there in St. Peter's, over there on the northern side. We know today we have the Tour of St. Martin is ongoing. They're making laps around the Simpson Bay Lagoon, going towards the Coopercoy area, up Douglas Hill, coming up Nettle Bay and Sandy Ground, and back down to the over Bellevue, over the Causeway Bridge, down the Airport Road. So if you're in that area, pay attention, because cyclists are on the road. Cyclists going to be on the road. So and I think they're streaming it live on YouTube. So if you want to tune in to YouTube and get all the action that's taking place, you could do that. I think it's on the Pascal Abattoir, his YouTube page. All right, without further ado, we have some guests in the studios with us here, and we've been scheduling this interview for a while, and I'm happy to have him in the studios with us, together with his colleague. Welcome to the program, Jisk Goslinga from the NSI. Yes, good morning and welcome, man.
Yes, good morning. Good to be back. It took some time and some planning, but we're
here
and happy to be here, and definitely have.
Listen, you're a busy man, man. You're a busy man, because a lot of stuff is happening. So we're happy to have you in, because we see the posts and we see things happening. So once you're working, that means that you're gonna be busy.
Definitely,
because we've seen progress. So how are things going with you, Jisk, since making the transition from the Department of Sports to NSI?
Actually, yeah, really good. The receival with the team was really great. But it's also that, I'm really in a position that I think I really enjoy, have a big passion for, and also I think where my qualities are. I'm more of an executor in that sense than someone that only is behind a desk writing. I like doing it as well, but it's like a balance.
Yeah.
And I think that balance fits really well with the NSI team. And it's just fun to work, really in a team and have goals, set goals, and collectively work towards them.
All right. You brought along with you, of course, the legendary Sigfried Hodge, man. Sigfried, welcome back, man. How things going with you, man?
Busy, real busy.
Real busy, yeah. So I'm glad you guys took some time out to come in and have a little discussion and update the general public, because your updates go out, of course, on Facebook, but my audience, they not always into Facebook, but so you got to spread the message a little.
Yeah.
So 2025 has been kind of a busy year for the NSI. Let's start off with the most recent project, because I see you working on the Great Bay Sports Auditorium.
Yes. How did that start? Well, that's a bit of a long story, of course, because we go back to, of course, we were going to close many of our facilities due to the PB World Bank repairs. So there was a lot of scheduling involved in that. And then, the contract was awarded, the contractor was here, they partially mobilized, and then, that fell through. So, of course, that had a big impact on us as well, because not just from scheduling and all our users and keeping them informed, it also had to do with what do we do, because we don't want to necessarily do what is on the list of repairs there, because then we're spending money that is kind of unnecessary. But in the summer there's always some big tournaments, always an auditorium, so all of those were canceled. Could not go through because we have to schedule ourselves on what is coming. So then when we really heard, the final answer that the repairs are not going to happen at this moment as yet, we sat together and we're like, oh boy, what do we do now? We closed the auditorium and we said, okay, we're going to, see what we can do. Where can we make an impact? What resources do we have? And the first decision we made is, okay, we're going to paint the whole inside of the building, at least uplift the building, because a paint job already makes a big difference.
That made a big difference. That was much needed.
Yes, I think Sigfried remembered that I sat with the main team and I said, guys, this is a big job. We're not going to do it alone. We're going to get a third party as well. But we always look for a way to cut on cost. Are you guys up for it? And they were like, yo, that's a I remember you saying that's a no-brainer. I said, because it's gonna be tough, it's a lot of work. But do we want to do this? And then they was all like, the whole team was like, definitely we're gonna do this. So that was the first thing. So I think we spent about 2 to 3 weeks on the. We're not done yet. We still have some details here and there.
Okay.
But we started with that, so painting the whole inside, and also because the painting was not on the list of repairs from the inside.
Okay. Right. So it's good we get to that. Maybe let's break down for the listeners what actual repairs fall under the NRPB. What was the agreement that would roll out from, because there seems to be, I know with the schools it was a bit complex because they did certain things, didn't touch other things.
Yeah.
So what, for example, for the Great Bay Sports Auditorium, what will they repair in the Great Bay Sports Auditorium?
So the Great Bay Sports Auditorium, they would paint the whole outside of the building. They would fix the cracks, etc. Basically what we did now on the inside. They would not paint the inside. They would put in a new floor, but also that one was questionable what type of floor it was going to be. Because the philosophy is repairs, they would put back to what is in there at that moment. So that was also making a jump start to the floor, a reason for us to also to do the floor ourselves. They would paint the what do you call it, in the
beams,
the
steel
beams,
beams,
in the ceiling. So we didn't do that. They would change all the doors on the inside, kind of fill all the cracks, that type of stuff. Change all the toilet fixtures, the bathroom fixtures, but not do anything with the walls. There's one room on one side that the roof is kind of damaged. They would repair that. They would repair the air codes that are damaged, but most of those we fixed already. So it's not to say that there's that much work at auditorium that will be done. So nothing with the seating or air conditioning, and of course they would do the floor as well. I mean, that would be one of the most important ones.
But now you guys are, because I saw the post, you guys are busy with the floor. So let's jump to that, Sigfried. I saw you there.
Yeah. Like you said, it was a no-brainer to do the floor, and we had a concern because they do repairs. They don't really replace stuff, and we needed a certified floor for the international tournaments and as well as our local athletes. Because if we provide them with a proper facility to play on, when they do go to these international tournaments away, they are already used to it, you understand? So we made that decision to allocate funds to replace the floor.
So what type of floor are we putting in? Because I know when the Great Bay Sports Auditorium was originally made, it had in a wooden floor and certified. When we say certified floor, what kind of floor are we putting in now?
So it's a polyurethane floor. So basically, when you look at floors, you have synthetic floors, and then you have a whole variation of floors, like the click system, the tiles that we have now. That is more on the budget-wise, a cheaper floor in that sense.
Okay.
Then you have a polyurethane floor, which is a more costly floor, but then you also have different gradients of it. And then the best of the best, of course, is a maple wood floor. That is far out of our reach. Also maintenance-wise, it's very costly.
Okay.
Then you do have the best of the best, what you see, of course, in college and NBA, etc. But that was just simply not feasible. So we basically went with the best of the best when you look at a synthetic floor. So it will have Sika is the company that is installing it. It's a Swiss company. They're one of the largest indoor floor suppliers, retailers, manufacturers. And then they have, of course, a whole variation of type of floors. But because auditorium is, of course, multi-purpose, also for badminton, also for netball, you also need to look at what is the best floor in that. Our biggest criteria was it needs to be a FIVB, it needs to be a FIBA, and also for badminton approved and netball. Yeah, so that brought us to this model type of floor, which has basically a 9mm cushion.
Okay.
So that is the shock pad that is placed first.
So go easy on the knees, the elbow, the knees and stuff like that. The knees,
so
ankles.
We start a veteran league.
But it's exactly the right thickness and also not too thick, because let's say what makes it a FIBA approved floor is when they do a test, the ball bounce have to come to a certain height.
Okay.
If the shock pad is too thick, the ball is gonna bounce lower. So that's how you have those regulations, and these big manufacturers, of course, build according to the regulations, and then have that certification that is approved according to the international federations.
Yeah. Also, one of the reasons we chose that floor too is because we live in a hurricane zone. It's more of a weather-resistant floor. It's lower cost maintenance, like we say. There are going to be some changes, and we're going to educate the users about those changes because the money don't come around often, so we have to take care of what we got.
So what kind of changes we're looking at, for example, with sneakers, outdoors, walking in with outdoor sneakers and stuff like that? That's going
to have to stop. We're going to make signs, provide different matting and so forth, and our coordinators are going to have to put in some extra work to make sure that this happens. But you cannot come from the streets with those
just straight in and walking in because it's going to damage
exactly
them.
So and you have to make use of the locker rooms, which we just remodeled as well. To this remodeling, you put in some benches which is attached to the wall, so there's no more of those dragging the older type benches and so forth, repainted and all that stuff. So it's ongoing.
Okay, great. Radio listeners, if you just joined us, of course, you're in tune to Sports Forum here on PJD2 102.7 FM. I'm Antonio Venturin in here with you for the full hour. We're talking this morning to Goslinga, the director of the NSI, and Sigfried Hodge. He is the manager for the facility manager. So we have all the right people here in place this morning to get all the good information. Shout out to Julian Richards, man. How you doing? That's the tops. Hey, I gotta hail up the boys, them under the almond tree there in the alley, man. The fellas them early out there in the alley having a good time. They're relaxing under the tree, getting some nice breeze. So shout out to them. Super D, I see you try to get in touch with me, but you gotta call me on the landline from the radio station, man. I'm streaming live. He's calling me most probably to give me an update on the tour of St. Martin. What's the action that's going on But you're going to have to call me on the landline from the studio, the PJD2, then we'll patch you in, and then you could give me that update, because we know the Tour of St. Martin cycling race is ongoing. Those guys, they are busy making the laps around the Simpson Bay Lagoon, and the action is hot. I understand that some riders break away from the yellow jersey, and the yellow jersey is held by a teammate of Jakim Carty, and Jakim Carty is, of course, the St. Martin cyclist, and everybody's looking forward to him. And happy belated birthday to him, because he made birthday yesterday, and his mom Brigitte Carty, she made birthday the day before. So complete family celebration there for the Carty family out of Sandy Ground. Now let's get back to our guest here in the studios. So once the floor is down now, so you said already you did for the Great Bay Sports Auditorium, you did the lockers, NRPB is going to do the bathrooms.
Yeah, correct.
What about the concession area? And
we did some upgrade into that too. Yeah. We're still busy with it, but we did put in some more modern shelving and tables and so forth. We painted the area. We're going to retile it. So it's ongoing, the exhaust system and all that stuff.
Now the big question that everybody wants to hear about is, of course, want me to ask is, of course, the air conditioning, because that was a promise. Was it a campaign promise, or it evaporated into thin air, or is it still in the pipeline?
It should definitely be there, because the tender process is in a far stage. I'm not too sure exactly where it is right now, but a big part of that process has been done. So I'm not too sure what the latest update is. Of course, we also are curious to see, but to my understanding, that is going to happen.
It's ongoing. So now with the flooring, because we know the slipping on the flooring was a big problem with the previous floor that we had. With this new flooring, are we going to see it, much more resistant to that?
Yeah. So one of the technicalities of that type of floor is indeed that you don't slip, or you have the right balance between slipping and grip, basically. Because you do always, with certain sports, you have a little bit of slip that you need, but it won't be like before, of course, that people really fall in continuously.
What about the stands, the seating in the stands? I mean, I gotta ask all the questions.
Yeah. No, I mean, we are accustomed to it, because once you do one thing, exposure is there, and then the next questions automatically come as well. So we're well aware of what all needs to happen. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to budget as well. It was a whole calculation and a whole creative way to find a budget for this floor, because this is not a cheap floor either. It's $70,000 for the floor. So we had to together with the sports department, the government, look at how can we reallocate funds. We had a reservation in our budget that from 2024 that we needed a second maintenance vehicle, which we do really need. But we said, you know what, let's prioritize this floor and let's reallocate that budget. So that was a portion of it towards this floor, and we use our own vehicles, and we will continue, and we'll see. Hopefully next year we buy maybe a cheap vehicle or something. But that gave us, and the sports department and the minister agreed with it. So that put us already in a position that we were able to do this. But end of the day, our budget is a maintenance budget, and not an investment budget. So even the painting, yes, from maintenance you have to paint every so often, but this, of course, we paint literally almost every square meter in the building. Yeah.
Any discussions with the Department of Sports regarding the investment budget, getting something on the capital investment budgets for NSI for sports?
Yeah, so I did notice that sports was not on the capex for this year, because I did see some funds are approved. I think some priorities had to be made. I'm not too sure, but I know the sports department always submits for capex, for capital investments, and we always work with them to make sure, provide them all the information of what is needed. So also certain upgrades, etc., refurbishments to auditorium was in that list as well.
Okay, now let's move on to Raul Illich, because I think the Football Federation is eagerly waiting for the renovations to take place there so that they could start hosting some home matches. Quite
falls on the NRPD.
Yeah.
'Cause again, we do not have that type of funding.
Yeah.
And we're talking millions now.
Yeah,
We definitely don't.
But there was some capital investment funds that
Yeah, that is done.
That
now.
was done.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
executed.
That all was executed. The football
Okay.
field is done, the track is done, the fencing around the track. So really focused on the areas where the sport is being played. All of that is done. Now you're really talking about the structural improvements to the building. Yeah, that is not, that goes above our expertise in that sense too. We have a lot of expertise on everything that happens on the sporting area. And we would love to take charge of all those type of projects. But when it really comes to the building, etc., that falls under them. So we would continuously still make some improvements here and there by Raul Illich, but they would be more of a minor scale.
Now I know you were. I think last time you were here, you mentioned you were trying to make a second smaller pitch somewhere in the back.
Yeah, that one is completed.
That's completed as well?
Yeah, that's completed.
Okay.
That's been there already, I think. We did that
Since-
before the track, so that was in October.
Yeah.
So that's almost there for a year now. We need to improve on the lights there still. That is one thing that we want to do on the short term, better lights. But that is completed, yes.
What about the pool, the swimming pool? Understood. I heard something through the grapevine that it's under repair now, or the
existing
No,
pool?
that is
Yeah.
the Carib Swim Team pool.
the Caribbean
Yeah.
pool is
Yeah.
under
Yeah.
repair. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's I heard that they're okay. So everyone is at Bel Air now swimming. Which
Yeah, I think they divided. They have a lot of hours by us right now
Yeah.
as well, and I think they probably for
Right
the competitive swimmers they go to Bel Air.
any plans in the pipeline to upgrade the pool in the pool area? And I know I'm maybe putting you down there now, but-
No, I mean we can give our opinion. It's very simple. The wish is there to build a 50-meter pool, but it will not fit at Raul Illich because we do not have the land that we had before. That was where a deal was made with SFA. So a 50-meter pool simply does not fit there anymore.
So the entire area at the back where the tennis court was and stuff like that.
The
is-
tennis court is still
It's
under
still
us, but
under?
the multi-purpose area. You remember where the COVID container?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is now SFA.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
That's a rough one.
yeah, it is, and I got to ask you a question. Just, I mean, yeah, if you want to give your opinion on it, it's up to you. But there was with the new and it's NRPB again with the area opposite now the league ballpark where there's so much flat land there now available, and I think I heard. On the radio that they're going to do recycling there.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on? I mean, for me, of course, being a sports enthusiast,
Yeah.
I was like, what? Can we get at least a portion for a cricket field
I-
or something? And then the recycling. I mean, for me, the recycling can be done where
back.
on the hill where.
We fully agree with you. We need more land for sports.
Yeah.
That discussion, that topic needs to be on the highest level, needs to be pushed, needs to be on the agenda, because we need it. We have a deficit. We know, for example, now with auditorium, we're going to get a lot more bookings. We saw it with the track.
Yeah.
We're not going to have enough availability. So, we need a lot more facilities, and it starts with at least having the land. I passed in Dutch Quarter the last
clearing
weeks,
the
and you
land.
see a large area cleared. And I think back in the day, they even used to play football there. You would probably know.
Correct.
And when I see that and I pass there, I'm like, oh, this could have been a stadium.
Well, there was I think if I'm not mistaken, there was an offer to purchase the land at a fair price
Yeah.
for.
No, and also the Irma dump, that land was actually leased to the Football Federation.
Yeah.
And now they're most likely gonna have the Belvedere football field.
Yeah.
But again, now you're providing a piece of land that was already destined for sports. So we would, of course, and I know they could do a lot with that land and they have the means, but it would have been good if it was a other piece of land that was not
Correct.
for sports yet, because then we actually grow in the amount of space of sports.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk then about Jose Lake. Raul Illich, we covered Raul Illich. Basically what NSI could do at Raul Illich is covered. Jose Lake, a lot of improvements there. One I think one of the biggest improvements that made a big difference is the chains that started to get
It was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that it was a mini dump actually. Everybody was just dumping everything.
Yeah.
So Yeah, we did that ourselves as NSI, totally an NSI team thing. We came up, we said, listen, not knocking anybody, but we gotta do what we have to do.
Well, definitely it was a good intervention because it solves the problem.
It solved the problem, yeah.
It solves the problem. So definitely a good intervention. Tell us a bit more about what is NSI going to do at Horsey Lake and what the repairs from the NRPB will entail at.
Well, it's good timing because just yesterday we received we collected the shipment because we're going to improve on the drainage for the infield.
Okay.
This coming week we have an appointment where we go look at some dirt, like see if it's feasible for the infield as well.
Okay, yes, that need to raise, yeah, correct.
With all the water and different stuff, it's
correct.
soaked over the years.
Yes,
so we need to improve that so we could make our athletes and get them more safer turf to play on, and then we could start hosting. When NRPB do their stuff with the stands and all that stuff. I hope you notice there are 2 new containers there too. We have
I saw the new
storage,
containers, yeah.
And then we have office spaces. So, like Pelican League, SUSA, and the Federation could utilize the office for the meetings and so forth. And then we have for the coordinator on duty, and we have 2 locker room areas. And then the 5 containers for storage.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And I also saw you the batting cage.
Yes.
The batting cage is there.
Yeah, I'm proud of those batting cages for a reason. Because that's Aruba and Curacao is the mecca in baseball, so to say. But I heard a comment from I think one of the representatives from Curacao, and he was like, batting cages are awesome. That made me feel proud.
They say you have the nicest batting cages in the kingdom.
In the kingdom.
And he said, where's the blueprint? I said, well, we didn't have a blueprint. We just looked at a lot of YouTube videos and asked a lot of people on the island as well, and from that we kind of build them. So
how are they being utilized though? Are they being utilized adequately to the expectations?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's great to know. So what else is in petto? The field. What else? What will NRPB do at Horsey Lake?
At Horsey Lake, they will rebuild the perimeter wall that fell down. There was a perimeter wall to the back. I'm not sure if you noticed it, but it was a wall, so that kind of
grass may grow up. Maybe it
fell for Edma.
Yeah.
So
when we built the batting cages, we removed a lot of debris that was there. So there was a lot of bush there, so you wouldn't really see it. But it was a wall that would continue all the way to the back to the corner. So they will rebuild that wall. That's a very important one. And then it's mostly a little bit of fencing work. And then it's mostly the stands, fully the stands.
Okay. And just the regular repairing was there? No improved seating?
No. It's really, obviously we asked a lot about this, and because
well, what was there, when you ask, what's their reason for not? Because the motto was build back better, not build back the same.
Yeah. And then the second motto was repair. So with that motto, which I guess leaded the charge, it was really looking at what it was and is going to be built back to that. And
level.
to me, and they know that because I express this a lot. That does not make sense in many cases because our facilities are already outdated and old, and we also are trying. Football is a good example. There's a whole list of CONCACAF where you have to adhere to
requirements,
from a facility perspective. So if the changing rooms need to have 4 toilets, then why not? While we're busy repairing the 2 toilets, maybe just add 1 or 2,
Correct.
extra, or we would even give funds for that, so we don't have to break down a wall that you just fixed to add the 2. So those conversations were very difficult, and to what extent some of these things will happen, we need to see, because a lot was also when we're in the moment of reconstruction.
Okay.
In that case, we are very happy that the contractor that was awarded did not get the that they pulled the plug because it was undoable to communicate with them, and there was no type.
Not only because of language.
Not only because of language, everything was more money, or So I really hope that the tender is set out quickly again. Maybe break it down in pieces so we can just get started. I even feel that there's certain things that we for sure could do, but I know that there's a process there, so I understand that cannot happen. But we just hope it really happens soon and we could get this all started, so we could also make the switch from only repairing facilities to also focusing more on the software, on the programming, etc.
And stuff like that. All right, we are at a halfway point. We need to take a break and pay the bills. But if you just joined us, you missed the first part of the interview with Goslinga, the director of NSI, National Sports Institute, and the facility manager, Mr. Sigfried Hodge. And we're talking about his sporting facilities. And after the break, we're going to get a little more in depth about some more advancements and plans from the National Sports Institute. Stick and stay. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this on Sports Forum. Sports Forum, welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of Sports Forum here for September 13th in the year 2025. And once again, happy birthday going out to my brother, Alvin Sagamori. He's celebrating his birthday today. The numbers are getting a little large, big numbers up there, but he's still there on the grind. Let me give you an update on the high school basketball league organized by Performance Sports Academy, and we have topping the charts MPC with 3 wins, no losses. They're trailed by Sundial with 2 wins and 1 loss. St. Martin Academy also has 2 wins and 1 loss. MAC CSE also with 2 wins and 1 loss, and then Charlotte Brookson Academy 1 win, 2 losses, and Dominic High 1 win, 2 loss. St. Martin Academy via VBC, so Vocational Business Campus, 1 win, 2 loss, and LU 0-3. So not seeing CIA on the. Usually CIA has a pretty good team, but not seeing them on the tables here. So that's your update there from, and of course we're gonna have Omar in the studios here with us. I think he's coming in next week to talk about the under 15 showdown in Paradise. So that's everything's gonna be ready at the tournament type. So the under 15 showdown in Paradise, that's gonna be taking place within short. Now, yes, as we talk about the high school basketball competition, we know that NSI always brings out a school annual calendar for the year. The school basketball tournament is one. I saw it. I can't. But tell us some of the highlights on the. Is there a synchronization with the various entities as to when all the high school tournaments takes place? Because I know just after this league supposed to be starting with their RBC tournament.
Correct. Yeah. So we have our colleague Jackie Brown that that kind of coordinates it. Obviously, the school tournaments are organized by the federations, and they of course have the decision when they wanna organize it. But it is important that some structure is created and we don't have all tournaments in the same months, because then you also get less participations because the school is not going to participate in all tournaments at the same time. So our colleague Jackie, she coordinates that. She inquires by all the organizations, when is your school tournament, but also shows them, hey, maybe perhaps you should do it in a different time frame because we have these big tournaments at the same time. But it's a big puzzle, of course, to get that right, because the federations also use the school tournaments, of course, as an introduction to the sport, and then from there they go into the league. So, for example, you could see football had their school tournament last year at the end of the year, and now they chose to do it at the beginning of the year because they wanted to flow right into the league. So we definitely, our role in that is indeed to structure it. We want by the start of the school year that there's a calendar with all school sport events on it, and so also the PE teachers can prepare, can adapt their lesson plans accordingly. So it kind of all starts to fit in place. And I think every year, once you kind of have that puzzle correct, then basically every year your season and your schedule for the year for each sport could remain the same. But every year we can adapt a little bit to make it even better.
Now, what's the role? The role you said Jackie coordinates, but is there a broader role for the NSI and because sometimes you get an impression of, I mean, we're doing the school tournaments for really what's the objective behind it sometimes, because you mentioned which is a good point, the gym teachers preparing the teams. But you ask yourself in how far the schools themselves or the federations are supporting the schools to prepare the teams properly, because when you see the games, there's a big imbalance sometimes, and even different categories because you have advanced, you have less advanced, and I think that influence a bit the tournaments. Is there a broader vision for the NSI in kind of structuring it? Because I know you guys, the road for the NSI is not only in facilities and stuff like that.
Definitely true. So that's the software side indeed, and we also have a responsibility. The bigger goal of the school tournaments, at least for us, and every federation might have it a little different, but is indeed to introduce a child to the different sports that are out there, right? From a young age, so from the elementary age, you get to participate, you get to compete if you want, and if you like it, you join one of the clubs or you join the federation and you continue the sport for the rest of the year. So that's the bigger goal. But we do realize that these tournaments happen outside of school hours. The PE teachers, they obviously do not get paid for the outside hours, so they do it out of the love for the game or the passion, etc. But you can imagine they cannot be there every week maybe or for every sport, etc. So I know there falls a lot on the PE teacher, who is often in many cases the coach. You would see certain PE teachers are on every field every weekend. But we need to get to a point that that we also, and obviously the federations also present a lot of coaches, and in Little League they present the schools with a lot of coaches, so you would see that as well. But we need to get to the point also that more parents are involved, want to take up a role within the school team, etc. But I know it's hard, a lot of people work a full-time job or 2 jobs, so that is something that we are assessing because to say okay that we provide all coaches, that is just simply not feasible. So we have to do it through the federations and find the best model in order, because end of the day you want as many schools to participate in a tournament.
I think I heard mention that NSI was providing a stipend for I think someone to facilitate the
No, so what we
programs, or-
do is we provide all the school tournament organizers, they provide us with their budget to organize the school tournament, and then we provide funds for them for certain expenses.
Okay.
And we started with that last year, and then this year we're increasing on it a bit, and the better we do financially, the more we can support them as well. So that is our role. So really from structuring to making the connection with the schools, so we could kind of take that a little away from some of them if they choose for the federations, and providing some funds so they can organize.
Sigfried, I have a question here from online viewer asking, what about the drainage behind the Jose Lake baseball field? There was a
that was addressed by CGC, and that would be continuously addressed.
Okay.
They do have the contract to take care of that stuff. So they came in right away and they work closely with us. So.
Okay, so that's being was taken care of. So thank you for that question from our online viewers. And now, yes, we were just mentioning finances and how the NSI is doing. I know part of the objective, of the NSI was to source funding from other sources besides government. How are we advancing with that?
Well, as we speak, we have a big project going on, which is the Cruyff Court Heroes project, which we did together with the Smarter Sport Federation. So we have 6 coaches participating in that program, and it's a program that the coach selects youths, heroes from the community, and then teaches them certain skills in order that leads up to organizing a small event. So they really get taught, a lot of the coaches know, of course, they get taught, what are the steps in organizing an event? So, for example, the heroes then, they have to make a budget. The budget then is prepared and is sent to Jackie. Jackie will validate it, and then they get some funds and then they gotta buy or pay for certain services. So, for example, tomorrow you have the netball event. We had an event already from tennis, and then we have 2 from football coming up, and we have 1 for boxing and athletics. But the cool part is that you see these kids are developing themselves and learning what type of aspects are taking place in order to organize something, and that's good, because then they can also start to play a role within their own club or organization. Maybe they like finances, maybe they like the social media part, maybe they like to make a flyer, etc. So that was one of the projects, and actually we had 2 coaches from the Cruyff Foundation that were here for the week. They're leaving tomorrow, and they also had a training yesterday, Thursday and Friday, with all the coaches to train them on basically on the style of Johan Cruyff when it comes to coaching, and looking at their own style of coaching, etc., and how to go about that. So that is
anything particular you could mention about the Johan Cruyff style? I mean, everybody knows him as a football player. But I know he was at Barcelona for quite some time, but his style of coaching, what's the philosophy behind that?
He was a very, in that sense, a person that involved everybody. So when you look at the 14 rules, he has these 14 rules. But besides respect and those type of things, he also looked at, for example, being streetwise. So very solution oriented. If there's a problem, you don't always look at solutions that are in the books, but you think of things that work in
practice. Think out of the box.
Creative thinking, collaborating. You don't always have to be a leader that is very very loud. You can also be a quiet leader, because I think that's also something he was more, so a lot of these aspects were brought about in this training, but it was not a training as in, hey, this is the way you need to coach, but it was more about to kind of identify what type of coach you are, and what fits well. Because one thing also that you see a lot is a lot of coaches are, and which is understandable, are very competitive, right? But for example, this type of project or other social projects is not always about competition. Some kids just want to join a sport because they like the sport. But if they come in an environment where it's only about being the best and winning, then tomorrow they might not be there no more. right? So we understand the competitive part, and that is also definitely something that St. Martin's Sports Federation is busy with. But for NSI, we are more focused on the grassroots, and that's just getting as many people from all age groups, etc.
It's also a healthy lifestyle
for the community.
Right.
I think that you mentioned that, and I'll tap into you guys' sports knowledge, because that seems to be imbalance in the community where the difference between competing and participating, that seems to be a lot of parents and supporters can't identify or differentiate that properly, because you see a lot where we participate, but it's not really on a competitive level. Any thoughts on how maybe we as a community, because you guys are involved in sports, how do we make that jump, or is it possible even for us to make that jump what people are expecting us to do?
Yeah, because like with the grassroots, the coach is going to teach them skills, of course, not just going to give them a ball and go there and play. They're going to teach them skills, but you want to keep their interest in the particular sport or sports that they choose to increase. Like I say, they could go tell a friend and so forth, and then you have a participation. And the goal is to make them better at that stage, so when they leave there and they go on to the clubs, that's where the competitive style kicks in. In different associations, that's when competition really should start. But it's all about developing and participating at that age and at that level.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Jisk, or?
Well, it's I know this is always an interesting conversation, and sometimes it's also a little difficult because our numbers in some sports are not that big. So you might have a team, and then half of the team is really there to win, and the other half, I just like the sport and I want to play.
Yeah.
And then that half might not. Then you get an imbalance in the team, right? So it is important that we start, really focusing on those national teams that we have that are really focused on competitive sports with the right coaches that are also really on coaching on that aspect, and that are continuously training throughout the year, and not just 2 or 3 months before a tournament comes. And because we see that a lot as well, but you got to be training throughout the year.
Correct.
Then we can make that distinction more better, like, okay, I'm playing with my club and my team, but I'm doing my best because I want to come into that national team that is there training on a weekly, or I might be seeing them training after my training, and then it's like that is something that you want to grow towards. But sports should always be there for everybody. It should be inclusive, and if you only want to create an atmosphere of winning, then you're gonna lose a lot of people as well.
Definitely.
For example, the female sports is actually growing every year now.
Yeah.
Correct. So softball is definitely growing. Basketball was there in the past. I think we have to get back. And soccer, of course, football
is the mecca.
Netball is the mecca of.
Football has also grown in female.
Yeah, football and volleyball is also strong in that. Now, you did a lot of collaborations with various entities, I think, to do some repair a lot of the outdoor sport facilities in the various neighborhoods. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes. Well, we did. The most recent one was in Dutch Quarter, where we had to change the backboards and rims,
poles as well.
Yeah. Then we decided to also change the poles because the poles were kind of slim and giving some problems. So that okay, let's just do the whole thing. And we collaborated with a foundation called Rebuild SXM that provided us funds for that, and we actually made that court into a netball court as well. So now netball actually has 2 courts.
All right.
Because we experiment with it in St. Peter's.
Yeah.
And it's working really, really good in St. Peter's.
So what's the main adaptation or you have to do to ensure that netball can also play on the court? Is it only the lining, or you have to do?
No.
Yeah.
The lining is very important. It's a little bit bigger than the basketball court. We don't always have that size court, but at least for the practice facilities, we could cater to that. The pole itself, we have it could rotate now. So yes.
So you could turn around the backboard,
yeah. So what we did, it first started, I know in St. Peter's, but what we did, we extended what we call the spine on the inside, because if it's short, and you have the dunkers in the basketball,
they can break it.
Right, so we extended that in St. Peter's, and it worked really well. So we decided to adopt the same feature in Dutch Quarter.
Okay, so that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach Lisa, man. She's
Yeah.
doing a fantastic job with netball. So Dutch Quarter, any
We made repairs. We looked at, okay, so again, also with the courts, after those, stopped as well, then we said, okay, let's do what is most important. Every court should at least be safe, and it should have a proper rim that everybody can play. So we
Okay.
went and checked, okay, which ones can we fix? So at this moment, all courts should be, when it comes to that perspective, we understand that fencing and even the floor sometimes is not in the best state, but that will have to wait for NRPB. But we at least made everything sure everything is safe. We had good sponsorship on the batting cages from Argos. That helped us with that. The small field, football field, that was a big sponsorship project. So we
GEBE, Airport, Koiman.
that's a small one behind behind
so
Raul Lillage.
material wise,
Mhm.
that project was almost fully sponsored, and then government also gave us extra subsidy for it. So that was a really nice project. Then we have one in the pipeline that we already have some funds for, from a funding agency, which is for a small little boxing facility.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, shout out to Sean Blair, man. He had a fantastic event a few weeks ago. Really great event, man.
Usually don't say too much yet because we just like to get it.
Well, you could give me the
done, and
premiere,
then
man. Sports for.
we know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because we got a little bit of the funding is not. We need more, but we're gonna make a small little boxing facility, basically where you see a lot in Thailand, those open air type of boxing facilities.
Yeah.
So it's about thinking creative. Okay, this sport has nothing. How can we bring them from no facility? How can we bring them to something? Obviously not a full-blown gym, but if the goal is a full-blown gym, which should always be the goal, but then we're not getting nowhere, So
Yeah.
we can do something. So at Raul Lillage, we have a corner that is in the back of the pool, and it kind of has two walls on 90 degrees of each other. So those two walls are going to be used to hang up boxing bags.
That's right.
And then we have about 60 square meters. We're gonna dig it out a little bit, pour concrete, put the tiles on top, and then put a ring. And we put a
Canvas
roof,
over it. So
canvas roof, and that's it.
Hey.
And then we have a boxing facility.
We're gonna try to use every little piece of land that we have left.
So definitely Sean is a big one behind this, and has been asking and is always pushing for his sport, and we definitely always really admire how he and his team, how much they do to get their sport moving. We see him a lot on the boardwalk with the
Correct.
youths. We love the fact that he, the type of youths he takes off the street is very inspiring. One of the guys is one of the heroes in the Cruyff Court project as well.
Okay.
So from that angle, through Sam American Fonson, we were able to get some funds already to construct this. So
And that's great news. That's great news.
Yeah.
What about, we mentioned the boardwalk? We know you did a community project there on the boardwalk. How is that? How has the experience been with that? How is that being utilized by the general public?
Ooh, heavy usage.
Yeah.
We're, like you say, we don't like to talk a lot, but we also have some plans for them, some improvements that's supposed to be coming pretty soon. I should say.
Have to kind of happen because
yes.
because just like with the floor and auditorium, we kind of set a deadline, which was the tournament from Omar. It was
Okay.
like, why we do this? We want to do it before this tournament. So, and it's good to set a hard deadline because it keeps you moving. You know.
Correct.
So in collaboration with the organizers of the Amstel Bright Beach Volleyball Tournament, which is
It's
the
coming
end
up
of October,
annually. Yeah.
we have one problem by that park. It's being utilized a lot. That's great. Kids play there all till late in the evening. They want a third court, which we're going to prepare, but the sand is no good. And we've been having issues with this already, and we've been bringing new sand, but it just needs to be dug out because it's dredged sand, so people get injured. So to do it good, we have a person from Jacob from the beach volleyball organization who's kind of who wants to take the charge on it.
Jacob Streefkerker.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And we spoke to Vromi, and we basically I think it's good to communicate that already.
Yeah.
Because then people know what's going on.
Yeah.
We want to swap the sand with the sand that is at the channel. where they open and close the channel with.
Okay.
The Bay channel.
Yeah.
So we've been looking. Okay, we need sand. We have a lot of beaches, but obviously, you know, you can't just take sand just like that. So we reached out to the Nature Foundation, and they indicated, you know, there could be something possible, but you know, there's
Turtle
technicalities,
nesting,
turtle nesting season and this and that, which is very understandable. So our plan B was more, okay, maybe we could swap it with the sand that is there, and that was okay. So now we need to prepare the logistics, get one of the companies on board, hopefully for a good price. And then we could
because Rummy's on board already, so
Okay.
Yeah. So we have a lot of these are busy weeks. We have a lot of projects going on.
So any other plans? You gave me almost all your plans for 2025. Any other big things going to be happening with the NSI for 2025 that you off the top of your head?
Yeah, well, one facility that I don't get talked much about is Medford Hazel, but we do have a plan put in place for that. I'm not going to give a date because then you build expectations, and if it doesn't come through at that date, then you get. But it's coming. It takes some time, and we're very creative with it. And
I think once we have because if you notice, we kind of work facility by facility. We did a lot of Rowlillage, then we moved on to Jose Lake, then we moved on to auditorium. Like for example, Jose was always asked, what about auditorium? And it's, you know, we said we cannot do all facilities at the same time. We also don't have the funds, but we need to also focus and not have something half done, and you know. So now a lot of focus is auditorium. We want to do that boxing facility, which is really important. The beach volleyball course, and then we could move our attention to Medford Hazel. And that one is also, we have more problems there. So we need a more broader support, interministerial support on, you know, fixing the issues there. But then it will. I'll be honest, you know, it hasn't gotten the best attention it needs to get. But yeah, it's difficult to be busy with everything at the same time.
I must commend you guys highly on the intervention you did there, removing the brushes and increasing the visibility there after that robbery that took place there. That was such a simple move, and when I passed there, like, that was it. You know?
Yeah, that had to, you know.
Yeah.
We also made a request to GB to fix all the perimeter lighting, you know, light up the place more. But we see it as a great challenge too, because also that facility has a lot of potential. It even has a good bit of square meters there that is, you know, unused.
Can be utilized for other purposes.
That is gold for us now. Any square meters we could do something with. So we have a Tim from tennis runs a beautiful program there. He's in the Sport Unites program that we launched in this month, which is really focused on the social aspect and vulnerable kids. So yeah, that would fit in perfect to that as well.
And important to note is that we do all of this, but one thing that we said is that before we do all of this, we're going to put a maintenance plan in place, because you could build and repair all nice system, but it's going to need to be repaired.
Correct.
We're going to ask the community to please assist us by not vandalizing the place, you know, making good use. Especially the grown-ups. I have a problem with the grown-ups using the facilities and not clean up after themselves. Come on, I'm going to call you up right now on the radio. Clean up after yourself. Because you as grown-ups, you need to set an example for the youth.
Correct.
I learned a nice one yesterday in the Cruyff. Seba came with that, and they call it the departure tax. So when you leave the facility, you have to hand in you have to submit your departure tax, meaning you have to grab something from the floor, anything, and throw it in the garbage.
Okay.
That's a nice something we gotta, you know. But especially with the public spaces, like Sigfried say, you know, for example, Belvedere too. You can come there one day and tomorrow again there's a whole lot of garbage. So we definitely got to do
unfortunate. Guys, we out of time. An hour went by so fast. We got so much to talk about. Listen, you got to make an appointment to come back more often, because we have a lot to discuss. Sigfried, before we close off, your final words. Let me give you an opportunity to, you know, make your final statements.
Yeah, well, you know, like you see, NSI, very limited in funding, and we're doing this for the youths, and we're going to ask the communities, and we're also going to reach out to the businesses. If you want to contribute, sponsor, reach out to NSI, where we're all open, and I want to encourage all the athletes to continue doing their thing. The same way, take care of the sports facilities like you should.
All right. Yes, your final words, man.
Yeah, just to add to what Sigfried said, we're going to work a lot on advertising as well. So we have some infrastructure that was ordered for that as well. So like Sigfried said, our success is only dependent on everybody else, including the private sector. So we have a lot of fun projects. I think we present some here. All of them still need funding. Auditorium is getting a nice facelift, and we need better lights in the auditorium. So that's a nice opportunity maybe for someone that feels, called for that. But also a big shout out to all the sporting organizations, because I have now been in the sports in the last 4 years, and I feel like there's really a good flow, and there's a lot going on every weekend. But also calling on the public to come out, because also their future is dependent on the more people that visit, that spend a dollar. That dollar goes back into the sports.
Correct.
And of course a big shout out to our own team and Hemco as well.
He stepped in when he was doing the repairs at the auditorium, and he offered his services and material for free. So
okay.
Yeah. So you notice once people see things and companies,
they join in and support.
Which is great. So yeah.
Well, people seeing the positive changes, so I want to commend you both highly on that. And last question: any possibility of getting a wall of fame, some walls of fames, and utilizing the walls? It's coming.
Well, I wouldn't say that's going to be our role, because we're maintenance and we're grassroots sports, but we have a beautiful wall in auditorium under the bleacher. You probably know it, right? That we just painted, and I think that lends itself perfect for a history wall, a wall of fame. So if anybody feels like because somebody needs to dig into that and dig into it. Maybe you even. You have a lot of knowledge. But it lends itself perfect, That wall really, as an example, and also, it's beautiful to have it outside, but at least, you can slowly walk past it. And
I think all the walls or all the facilities could be better utilized.
For sure.
All right, we're running on time, guys, and I want to thank you so much for coming in, and radio listeners and our online viewers. That's what we had for you this morning on Sports Forum. In closing, as I always say, be happy with what you have while working for what you want. God is the greatest. Take care. Enjoy the weekend. Stay safe. Until next week. Bye-bye. I'm out of here.